So we have one bit of bad news going into the final league games of the season, and that is that we can no longer finish in the top four, which means we cannot finish in an automatic Champions League spot. However, we could still finish fifth, which could, depending on how things shake out, gain a Champions League spot, and we could also win the Europa League, which could give us a Champions League spot as well. And we're going to find that out in today's video because I've decided we're going to do things a little bit differently than what I decided in the last video. Hi there, how you doing? Welcome to part number 15 of Club 3 of the MyCareer save here on Football Manager. My name is Stu, thank you for joining me in today's video. We are of course with Wolverhampton Wanderers and we are rounding out the Premier League season and playing the Europa League final. I was going to just do the final two league games. Here's the thing, we're not going to fall out of European contention. That's just not going to happen. So, what we're going to do instead, we are going to play Chelsea and Burnley. You are going to see those games in a condensed, highlighted form. I'm not going to show you the entire games. I'm just going to do some brief highlights from them. And then we'll have the main event being Fiorentina in the Europa League final. The main reason I'm doing that, this season's already a little bit longer than intended because of the fact that we had the Carabao Cup final. I just kind of want to get to next season now because we are kind of in an area where we can't improve significantly. Chances are we're Europa League next season. The main thing that's going to decide whether we're there or not is going to be the Europa League final, because if we win the Europa League final, we'll be Champions League. If we don't, we're Europa League. But we've got two league games before that. Both are relatively important. The first one's at home. The second one's against the bottom of the table away. I feel like there's a good mix there. So we'll go to the Chelsea game first. I mean, nothing's happened since you were last with us because the last game was the Sporting game. So we're just going to go straight into the Chelsea game. Again, I'm not going to show you the entire game. It's just going to be highlights, but then the whole game will be shown for the Europa League final. So, going into the final home game of the season, this is the 11 we're going with. It is Trafford in goal, Beatic, Owino and Ute as the central defence with Leifson and Aït-Nouri as the wing-backs. We've then got Fernandes and O'Reilly with Damsgaard ahead of them at the point of the trio in midfield. And then you've got Cook and Atuesta up front. It's basically our strongest possible 11 that we can currently put out, other than Andre, although Andre, I'm getting a little bit, as you know, a little bit fed up of him and his antics. I don't know what his antics is supposed to mean, but yeah, I'm not entirely his biggest fan at the moment. Just because this season just not has been as effective as last season, but then I have chopped and changed the formation, so there is a lot of that is going to be to do with me. But as I said, we're not going to show you the whole game here at Chelsea. We're going to do it in highlight format, the same as the Burnley game, so we can get to that all-important Europa League final a little bit quicker. So, Wolves versus Chelsea. Wish me luck. Oh, it's not a particularly good start. Victor Osimhen has made it 1-0 to Chelsea. I mean, on paper, Chelsea are the better team, but they're currently in 8th, outside the top 7, and they've got no way of getting there because they've not got enough games to get points from. So it's a little bit disappointing. We've let them in a little bit easy here as well. It's a ball over the top. It's deflected in as well. I think Trafford had that covered without that deflection from Ute, but there we go. 1-0 to Chelsea. Sad times. Although, we have a highlight here, so maybe we make something of this, possibly. Ball goes back to Ute into Fernandes. Fernandes is giving the ball away here, and Kvaratskhelia coming forward here. We managed to tackle it off of him, but Estevao gets it to Osimhen. Osimhen back out wide to Estevao. Chelsea have got a number of 2-star players in their squad. Estevao is, I think, 1.5 or 2-star, so if we give him a good game, I'll be disappointed. Their centre-backs as well are not particularly great, but we're 2-0 down. That's not great. That's not good, really, is it? Chelsea playing like a team, we've got nothing to lose because they genuinely don't. They've not got European football to worry about, so they can just kind of go out here and do what they want, whereas we've got a bit of pressure on us potentially. It's only 15 minutes in. That's about as bad a start as it could have been. We have a goal back. Ute has gone and put it in. It is 2-1. It's scrappy. It's actually from a throw-in originally, but it is such a scrappy goal, but I don't really care. As long as it goes in the back of the net, that's the main thing. So you can see we kind of mess around with it here. Damsgaard to Fernandes. Fernandes managed to squeeze it back through. Damsgaard actually goes for it here, just blasts it in, leaves and then heads it across to Ute, who just floats it into that corner. So we have a chance now. In terms of shots and everything, we've been good value for something out of this game. It's just the fact that Chelsea seem to just be more clinical than us. The story of our entire season. But yeah, not very good. Owino's had a shocker as well. Trafford's not been particularly better. Neither's been Cook. And I thought that was going to be 3-1. That would have been really annoying. 3-1. Yeah, that's game over, I think. we've not been able to get near them today. Kvaratskhelia has been incredible. He's looked so good, and he's got a goal for his efforts now, which is good. I mean, just Leifson can't get near him. Just cannot get near him whatsoever. It's a really, really nicely done goal. Goes to everyone. There's a couple of these performances on the pitch from Trafford and Ute, but the rest of the squad have been poor. I did try and do a bit of tactical fiddling. This is going to sound like the biggest excuse in the world. All of my opposition instructions I did before the game had cleared off, so I put those on at half time. Actually, I forgot to take U2 off because I don't like doing that. And it's not really doing anything. It's really not. I mean, we looked okay actually for a bit. I also did kind of have us being a little bit more kind of keeping the ball a little bit. That's definitely not done anything. So what I'm now going to do is just see the game out a little bit closer to as we were. Just see if we can get another goal back. But we've got a corner here. But I'm not holding out much hope. We made a few substitutions as well. They don't really seem to have done a lot, other than Ute's definitely done a better job in the middle than Owino. Owino, he's been really good for us in a 2-defender system, but in a 3-defender system he looks a little bit lost. We'll need to do something in pre-season if we're going to commit to this formation, which I think we are at this point. But need a little bit more work from him. Tavares, though, getting into a dangerous position here, looking for the ball into Damsgaard. Can't quite find it. It's still bobbling about a little bit. We've just not taken our chances at all today. And, we're paying for it. And that is full time. We were not in the races today whatsoever. It is kind of like the squad realised that they didn't really have much that they had to play for anymore. We did have to make the substitution of Nuri at one point because of a slight knock. We'll see how bad that is. But really poor from Owino. Ben Cook was anonymous. Fernandez got a yellow card, didn't look good. Damsgaard, he had a really good flurry when he first joined us, but since then he's been pretty poor. And it was really only defensive players who really did a good job for us. Tavares, Leifson, Nuri as mentioned, and Ute. Everyone else, pretty shoddy. We did have a late chance of getting another consolation goal for Ujara, but his header crashed against the crossbar, so nothing doing with that one. But you can see, looking at the match stats, possession, we ended up evening out. We ended up having a good amount of shots. It was on target is where our issue was, and we just committed a lot more fouls than them. And that ultimately, I think, cost us because it broke up the play with a lot of free kicks. Although we had a lot of corners as well, so you could say we got... FM'd is an extreme term for this particular performance, but I think we got a little bit FM there, so... Yeah, it is what it is. Right, well, I'm going to say that it's not good enough because it's not good enough. The performance wasn't great. So what I do want to see is a reaction against Burnley. I know we're away from home, and I know they're probably still fighting for relegation away from it at this point. I know he's out of the cup final as well. It goes from bad to worse. It really does. I could give him an injection, but we'll have to give him 2 games in a row, and I don't really want to do that. Sharquist is tired as well. I mean, he can have most of the entire week off to recover. That's a really rough one because it's come at the worst possible time. We wanted a bit of momentum going into the cup final, and we're not going to get that at this point, are we? Looking at that, right. Next is going to be Burnley away from home. As things stand in the table, they've still got 1 game to play, and to be fair, they are 2 points away, so they've got something to play for. Certainly more than we've got to play for. The one positive for us is Manchester City clearly lost their last game. They played again. No, they beat West Ham. They were closer than that to us. Unless, no, I think they played 37 games actually. Ignore me. 5th of the 5th. Yeah, they played the day before, so ignore that. So there's a 3-point gap. I think we'll be fine because in the Premier League, I'm pretty sure it goes on goal difference. So unless they win like 5-0 and we don't score, or they win 6-0 and we don't score, some combination like that, we're pretty much golden for 6th. Liverpool have got a game in hand, so if they win their game in hands, we're going to be stuffed in terms of getting 5th. I'm going to wait and see what happens in the league. If it looks like if Liverpool win their game, I'll consider just skipping Burnley completely, but I'm feeling a bit crestfallen at that performance against Chelsea, to be honest with you. That was a very disappointing show, and some of these players I think need to get their heads sorted before we get to the cup final, because if we play like that against Fiorentina, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, and that's 2 poor games in a row for Atuesta, which is a big concern. I think what I'm probably going to do with some of the bigger players in the squad, the more important players, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to give them most of the week off. I know they'll miss out on a fair bit of training, but at this point it doesn't really matter too much. I think what we'll do is we'll load kind of the match tacticy stuff towards the end of the week, just so we can load on that, and kind of the other stuff can just be for everyone else. and that way we focus on the most important stuff. It sounds good in my head. Whether it's good in practice or not, that's another matter entirely. Okay, the last game was a bit of a disappointing one, but we now have the final game of the season against Burnley. Again, we're not going to play the entire game, we're just going to show you the highlights. If anything dramatic happens, I'm thinking more goals. We'll send things off, hopefully there's none of those. But yeah, Burnley, just to confirm, are currently 2 points away from safety, so they have everything to play for. Technically speaking, anyone out of the bottom three, Burnley, Villa, I'm not happy about that, Brentford, Norwich or Southampton, could get relegated. So there is everything to play for. They will all be looking to try and do their bit to stay up. It's our job to make sure that it's Burnley who goes down. It's our job to do that. Man City, again, just 3 points off of us. Goal difference should carry us through, but I would like to win today just to cement it. If we don't win and City do, if they batter whoever they're playing, we could go down to 7th, in which case that Europa Conference League spot is looking more and more realistic, which would be a bit of a worry. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Basically, although you know Champions League is going to be 4th, that's denoting that it is basically all of these teams are guaranteed to finish in at least these competitions. I think in 6th we'd finish Europa League still. And I'm okay with that, but I know that we've got the potential to finish with a Champions League spot by winning the Europa Conference League, the Europa League rather, not the Conference League. So it is what it is. Right, let's get into the game. Let's just see what we can do. What I am going to do is going to go attacking. I want to just batter them. I just want to smash them into the ground. I don't want to give them a chance to think about it. Let's see whether that works or not. Oh, it's a horrendous mistake from the Burnley goalkeeper, and it is 1-0, and it's a Twester with a goal. But this is a horrendous mistake from defender and goalkeeper combined. Burnley have been the better team to begin with. We've had one good highlight, but yeah, it was a really poor cross from Leifson. Then Scott just does the unthinkable, pass it back, and the keeper doesn't commit to it. A Twester gets in there. We've seen him score that kind of goal before. He's very good at scoring that kind of goal, and it makes it 1-0. It was sort of against the run of play as well, but you know what? I don't care. I'll take a win. The ball is in the back of the net from Ben Cook, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be disallowed for offside. It is being checked. I mean, the linesman's all over by the dugout area. He didn't move, and that usually means it isn't going to be given. Yeah, it looked a mile offside as well. We'll have a double check of it on the replay here, but it did look quite offside. Twester does really well to keep the ball here, and to be fair, it's not that far away, but it is absolutely offside. So correct decision from the referee and the linesman there. Very close game, which is annoying considering where we are and where Burnley are. However, again, as described, Burnley have got a lot to play for, Premier League survival, so maybe it's not so much of a surprise. Well, we have another goal. It's taken until the 88th minute, but we have got another goal. Substitute Diogo Dalot, who's playing as left back from the substitutes bench, has gone and scored. You can see here, he gets it into the middle. I thought Andre was setting up for a shot here, but he switches it back to Dalot. Dalot just decides he wants to have a go at it. He's watched everyone else try. Everyone else has failed. He's going to give it a go, and he does a really good job as well. Nuno Tavares has had a really poor game. Well, not really poor, but it's not been a good game. So with Aït-Nouri being out of the final, it is up for debate as to whether we go with Tavares or do we start Diogo Dalot and Leifson starts on the right-hand side. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But we've managed to get through the game. It is a 2-0 win in the end. It's not the battering I wanted, but ultimately the main thing was I wanted a win. We got the win, which will cement a 6th place finish for us in the league. What does that actually mean, though, for competition in Europe? So, as you can see, in the end, we had nothing to worry about. Manchester City did win, but they only won by 3-0, so they would have been nowhere near the 5 goals they would have needed. Arsenal celebrate winning the Premier League. They won it with a game to spare, to be fair to them. They beat Bristol City on the final day of the season, so Arsenal Premier League champions. Arsenal fans, I know you'd love to see that. In terms of relegation, Burnley do go down because we beat them. Norwich ended up dropping to 19th. Brentford stay where they were, but Aston Villa with the final day battering Norwich. Relegation scrapper plenty there, and it is Aston Villa who managed to claw themselves out just about by 1 point, and they survive for another season. So that's the league done, which is good to see, good to have done. Now, we are qualified for the Europa League. Fantastic. So we do not need to worry about the fact of whether we're going to be in a lower competition next season than we were this season. So that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely sorted. Now we've got the matter of if we win the Europa League, we will be lucky enough, as we've already discussed multiple times, to qualify for the Champions League league phase. If we can win it, if we can beat Fiorentina. Quite why it has two lines of it here, I don't really know. That makes me wonder whether we've already done it by being in the final, but it does say winners, so I can't imagine that is the case. But we'll find out. We'll find out, won't we? But that is the league phase done, and that's a quick another look just at the final table. We actually finished on 73 points. That's a pretty good point return. Last season we finished on 64, so we have done better than last season, which is good to see. This season we won 21, drew 10, lost 7. Last season we actually finished in 6th last season as well. Actually, I thought we finished in 7th, so 2 back-to-back 6th place finishes. Last season, what did we do? 120, drew 4, lost 14. So we've actually done 1 win better, and we've lost less games. We've just drawn more games. So I think that's pretty good going, and I think you can probably trace that back to when we took over last season, how badly Wolves had done. This season, the rest of the teams around us have obviously done a lot better. But it is Chelsea who are the biggest team who miss out on European football. They finish in 8th, although I don't know, maybe with the way that things go, maybe Chelsea will end up with European football, who knows. Right, well, the Europa League final is only in a couple of days, which is absolute madness to me. You can see at the bottom of the screen, because I forgot to move my camera back over, Fiorentina 16th, we're currently on the 13th, so we've not got long left at all before that game. So I need to get this team as rested up as possible, and then we'll play the Europa League final, and hopefully we can win it. I mean, I don't know whether we can, but we'll try and motivate the boys as best as we can. Fiorentina, in terms of their end to the season, it's been a rough one, hasn't it? Look at that, April and May. My word. I mean, that's pretty poor, and they've still got a league game to go as well. So they're not done either. So we've got to try and capitalise on that a little bit, but they're just coming off a battering against Inter. So we've got to take advantage of that, surely. Back with you in a moment to see whether we can. Okay, well, here we are. Europa League final against Fiorentina, and an interesting fact on this, it is the second Europa League final for both of these clubs in their respective histories. So I know that Wolves haven't won it because I double checked that. I haven't checked Fiorentina. I'm not going to check it. We're just going to assume they haven't and that they're not going to, because we're going to beat them. That's the hope. The 11 for the game against Fiorentina in the Europa League final is going to be Trafford in goal, Hughes, Ute and Awina as the defensive 3, with Leifson and Dalot as the wing-backs. Sharquist and Andre will be at the base of the midfield, with Fernandes just ahead of them, and Cook and Atuesta, as usual, will be the strike partnership. And hopefully Cook can start firing again. And hopefully we can solve Fernandes' little funk as well, because he's just not been playing well recently, so we need to do something about him. Deep breath, everybody. Cup final time. Let's see whether we can win another trophy. We won obviously the FA Cup last season. We did win the Community Shield at the beginning of the season. Let's see whether we can win the Europa League and get ourselves into the Champions League and get some of that Champions League money. That'd be delightful. I mean, at a minimum, we know we're in the Europa League again next season, and we know that we can compete at this level. So we've almost got a bit of an advantage if we stay in the Europa League over some of the other teams, because we've already been there once we know what we need to do to improve. However, I would quite like to test ourselves in the Champions League next season and get a bit of that extra European money. That'd be lovely. We'll do what we can. We'll make it work as best as we can. But for now, all we need to worry about is this, the biggest game of the season. Fiorentina, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Europa League final. Let's go. And we start with a highlight. Sharquist is tackled on the edge of the box there, and the referee gives absolutely nothing. We're going to get on the end of that though. Hughes gets it out wide to Leifson. We are starting Dalot as left back today after his good cameo in the last game against Burnley. We've got Tavares if we need him, if we think that it's not working. We've got that as an option. We've also got McKernan as the more attacking option on the right if we feel like we need that as well. Fernandes, by the way, has obviously heard me. He's gone for a worldie there and won us an early corner in the second minute. It is a corner to Wolves. Sharquist's going to take it. Is he going to go short or long? I think he's going to go long. He is looking for the head of Hughes. And it hits the post or crossbar. I'm not sure which one. I think it was the crossbar, but it's an early opportunity. And we are I'm not going to say unlucky, but unfortunate that we didn't get ourselves 1-0 ahead there, because it was a great opportunity. Right, big ball over. Leafson controls it really well. And here we come. Shockwist chipping it over, looking for Ben Cook. Ben Cook with the header. I'm waiting for an offside. That felt like it was potentially offside. It's not offside. We lead in Europa League final. And Ben Cook's had a shocking couple of games. What a time to find your form again. Leafson with a ball into Shockwist. Shockwist chips it over beautifully. Ben Cook judges his run to perfection. Doesn't try and do anything fancy. It just comes up to his head. He heads it past the keeper. And Sevilla has been beaten. And it is 1-0. And now we have a game on our hands, because now it's going to be about the chase for Fiorentina. Isaacson whipping it in, can't find anyone, and they are now going to try and come at us even more. If there's a team that I'd like to do a random couple of seasons save with, it actually is Fiorentina, purely because I love their kit. I love the colour. It just stands out to me as just being fantastic. It's a lovely purple. That's the only reason I'd want to do it. Also, I don't know, I quite like Fiorentina. It sounds kind of cool, and why not? That was a bit of an aside there. It is still 1-0, but if we give the ball away like that, it's not going to be for very long. We can't do that. Sotil is now through. He's going to have a shot, but he has stuffed it up. We need to be focusing a little bit more than that. I don't quite know. I didn't quite catch who made the mistake there, but we need to be wary of more things like that happening. Cannot let that happen. Right, Shockwist now. Waiting patiently for a pass. Sotil on him. Ball to Andre now. Out wide to Leafson. Leafson whipping it in into Cook. And we've all of a sudden found a second goal out of nowhere. And I've also realised I'm still on the wrong side of the screen. There we go. I feel a bit more comfortable now. It's 2-0. It's 2-0. Andre gets it out wide to Leafson. Leafson just finds a little bit of room to put the ball in. And there's Cook. This time it's with his feet. When he's on his day, he can do everything. And he makes it 2-0. It's his second of the game. In the biggest of matches, Ben Cook delivers, apparently. And say it with me, Ben Cook, he's cooking. He is absolutely cooking. More of the same, please. I mean, a Europa League final hat-trick would be fantastic if we could get that. It really would be. But I'll just be happy with a win. I will just be happy with that. Right, let's keep going, boys. Let's push on. Let's try and get another. Let's try and get a third before half-time. Then I'll feel really happy. Right, Dalot gets it to Andre. Andre, who's relatively solid so far, without being spectacular. Ball goes all the way back to Trafford. Into Owino now. Owino, waiting for someone to pass it to. Goes inside to Ute. Ute, looking for the next ball into... Oh, it's poor from Shockwist. And Ute doesn't really do anything to try and intercept here. And I've got a feeling we might be conceding a goal here to Sotil. We are conceding a goal to Sotil. Poor passing. It's Shockwist who is to blame for that one. It's really, really poor. That there. What is Shockwist thinking, trying to do that as a pass? I mean, Hughes as well, you can argue he's a little bit at fault. But all of a sudden, it's 2-1. I am going to just tell Shockwist to focus. I'm going to tell Ute to demand more. And I'm going to tell the same to Hughes as well. I'm going to do the same to Trafford. And then everyone else, I'm going to encourage. Let's just see whether we can get ourselves back on top in this game. Another goal would just make me feel a little bit better. I don't like how... What is Dalot doing there? What is that as a throw? Why is he doing that? That is so poor. He's just thrown it to no one there. We've just given the ball away absolutely needlessly. And Fiorentina have a free attack here. Oh, I'm livid with him. I'm absolutely livid with him. Here they come. Oh, Leafson intercepts. Right, Hughes. Out to Shockwist. To Leafson again. Leafson now. Waiting for a pass. Goes back to Hughes. Hughes. I mean, Shockwist is there. I wouldn't trust him after their goal. Right, Ute. I don't like how we're being pegged in here. Can we get the ball out? Go over to Owino. Right, Owino now. Get out wide. Get out wide to Dalot. Pass it to Dalot. Right, Dalot now. He's got options. Goes to Atuesta. Atuesta, just run with it. Ball into Fernandez. Fernandez, he has got Ben Cook with him. Doesn't need him. It is 3-1. We get that goal that makes me feel a little bit better. And it's just 5 or so minutes before half-time. I started to feel nervous when they scored. And also the fact that when they were pegging us in, but fair play to my boys, they did a really good job of managing that situation, and it's ended up Fernandez, another player who's been poor recently, just like Cook, he's delivered when it's counted, and it is all of a sudden 3-1. I'm going to have a word with Andre. I'm not happy that he's on the 6.6. He was playing well to begin with in this game, but he seems to have dropped off a little bit. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. I'd like to see a little bit more. Maybe I'm considering, do we change him to a supporting player just to get him involved a bit further forward? But then I feel like his defensive attributes are helpful if he's further back. A really good tackle there from Dalot, maybe making up for an early mistake possibly. Keane goes back. They're passing it around here nicely here. Nice, quick, zippy, short. Williams now looking for space to get across in. He does. And there's a second back. And to be fair to Fiorentina, they have got to the final. I think their league position is a little bit misleading. I think looking at their 11, they've got a better team than perhaps it represents. But I'm a little bit disappointed that we've let them do that. And now we've opened ourselves up. Right, Shockwist to Hughes. We've won the ball back here. Hughes into Andre. Andre chips it over to Leifson. Nice pass from Andre there. Looking for something now, Leifson into Andre. Out wide to Dalot. This is how we got a goal in the game against Burnley. Dalot goes for it. And Dalot's done it again. It's 2 games in a row. And Diogo Dalot just decides he wants to go and get a cheeky goal. And in this one, it's a really nice goal as well. And I tell you what, credit to Andre. Andre had a lot to do with this. Leifson gets it to him in the middle. Gets it out wide. Sees the ball to Dalot beautifully. Dalot comes in on his right-hand side. That's the benefit sometimes of having someone of the opposite foot on the wing, because they can just cut in and do that. I didn't expect it to be Diogo Dalot, I've got to be honest with you, but there we go. And all of a sudden we find ourselves back with a 2-goal advantage. What a first half that is. It's all to play for still. You know my feelings about a 2-goal advantage. It is not a given at this point. I'm going to say that one, but we are going to have a word with a few of the boys. Shockwist, have a word with him about that mistake. Wasn't very good. Defence, to be fair, the defence are doing okay. I'm not too worried about the defence. I am going to tell James he needs to step things up a little bit. You guys on the wings will temper expectations, and we'll say that. And you guys will say that as well. Atuesta's having a really good game considering... I don't think he's scored yet, has he? I don't think he has. No, he hasn't. But considering that, he's still having a decent game. Right, second half here. Andre goes back to Owino. Owino goes into Ute. We've pushed up into their half here, which I'm really, really happy about. This is exactly what I want us to do. Right, Leifson now. All the space in the world here to make a decision on what he wants to do. He's going to whip it in. Surely no. Goes to Shockwist instead. Into Hughes. Don't tell me Dan Hughes is on the action. He is as well. The Wolverhampton Wonderkid himself has gone and scored a goal. I say that. We've got him and we've also got Ben Cook. So there are 2 of them. You get my point though. He's a centre-back. Playing as a wide centre-back. He's got no right to be here whatsoever. But boy, am I glad that he chose to be. And he makes it 5. We have a 3-goal advantage. You'd like to think that that's it done and dusted now, but yeah, you and I have played Football Manager before, and we know how these things can sometimes work. It's all about just seeing the game out now, but I think the best way for us to do that is just to keep playing the way we are. I don't think messing about with how we're playing is going to benefit anything or anyone. What I am going to do, though, is make some substitutions, just because I want to make sure we're as fresh as we can possibly be. Leifson's had a good game, but I am actually going to bring on McKernan. I want to give him a game. I just really do. Owino hasn't been the best, so I am going to bring on... I remember on Mapiu, actually, because before he got that little knock that kept him out for a couple of games, he was starting to get back to his kind of best, so we'll do that as well. And I'm thinking a third change. I'm looking at Andre. Not he's had a good game, but I'm thinking of Andre because of that yellow card. That yellow card concerns me, so I'm thinking Mr. Reliable Matt O'Reilly. Let's get him on the pitch, just so we don't have to worry about it. So we've got some energy in the defence, on the wing, and in the midfield. I think that makes the most sense to me. Right, let's do that. Let's get back to it. Well, we've got a throw-in, free kick, throw-in, McKernan's take. First action since coming on the pitch. Throws it back to goal scorer Hughes. Wouldn't have had that on my bingo card today. Now to O'Reilly. O'Reilly out to Dalot. Dalot looking to drive into the box. Get it into Atuesta, and Atuesta has a cup final goal as well. What a turnaround he's had this season. Started the season as a bit of a pariah. Just not looking like we could get a game out of him other than once in a blue moon. And those blue moons were not very common. And then we just decide just to start experimenting with the tactics, which admittedly, halfway through the season is madness. But it's led us to this 3 at the back masterclass that's got us 6-2 up against Fiorentina in the Europa League final, which is very unexpected. I still want a Cook hat-trick, by the way. Hughes nearly scored another there. Hughes nearly scored another. This has been fantastic. I mean, I don't even mind the fact we've conceded goals today. The main thing has been that we keep scoring them. And our strikers, I've got 3 of them between them, which is good. Right, Shockwist, still going here. Gets to Fernandez, into O'Reilly. O'Reilly, out to Dalot. Dalot looking for options, getting into the box. He's been great today as well. And Atuesta's gone and scored again. Now we've got an eye for it. We're just going to carry on, aren't we? We're just going to carry on. Atuesta makes it 7. Put the trophy in our hands now. The trophy's ours, whether Fiorentina like it or not. Dalot, I tell you what a game he's had. What I mean, he made a bit of an early blunder. I can't remember exactly what. I'm sure I remember him making an early blunder, and I got a little bit worried about him. But what a game he's ended up having. He's on a 9.9, best player out there, playing out of position. 9.8 now. It's gone down a bit. I mean, you know, fair enough. That's still a good rating. Right, final changes. I mean, I was going to take one of the strikers off. I'm not doing that now. They're both on 2 goals. I don't think they'd really thank me for that. I'm going to bring Patricio Jara on. I'm going to bring him on as the attacking midfielder just because. Why not at this point? And you know what? I'm going to experiment a little bit. Let's put him on as a shadow striker. Let's just see what he can do as that. And then for my final change, we're going to bring Shockwist off. And on is going to come Caceres, the youngster. Let's get him a few minutes out there in a big stage. No pressure whatsoever. And let's just see how he does in the final 10 minutes. Let's just see how he does. We've scored 7 of our 13 shots. And we've had 11 of them on target. I don't think you can argue that we deserve this, because we absolutely do. And we have a final highlight here. Whipped in, looking for the head of Dalot. And Diogo Dalot has gone and scored again. It might be offside. Okay, it might be offside. It might not be 8-2. It might only be 7-2. Fiorentina can save a little bit of face, maybe. No, the hands are up. It's actually 8-2. 10 goals in the final. 8 of them scored by us. And our fullback, playing out of position as a left wing back when he should be a right fullback, has got a 10 out of 10 rating. He's got assists for days. He's got goals for days. And we have got yet another trophy. Like, I was going to say, what's this guy doing wandering around here? But I haven't actually done a Euro. Normally, when I've been lucky enough that I've not actually played in the Europa League so far in this save, so I hadn't seen how the setup had been. I mean, the fans were in the way there with the camera. That's a little bit disappointing. This is the first time I've seen this animation for the Europa League, and I actually really like it. I like how different it is. Well, there we are. We win the Europa League, and if I'm right, and it's been known for me to not be, if I'm right, then I do believe that means that we're now in the Champions League next season. I could be wrong on that. I could have misunderstood it, but I'm pretty sure we're a Champions League club next year. I mean, just all of the performances. Fantastic. Dalot with 2 goals and 2 assists as well, just because he can. Atuesta with an assist and 2 goals. Ben Cook with a couple of goals. O'Reilly got an assist as well. Hughes got in on the action with a goal. Shockwist got an assist. Leifson got an assist. Shockwist got 2 assists. In fact, Andre got an assist as well. Great. That was the perfect cup final. Like, we dominated them, and that is exactly what that's what dreams are made of when you get to a cup final. Fantastic. Well, technically we've won a double if you include the Community Shield, the most important trophy in all of world football. We do win £7 million from getting to the final and winning, which is obviously fantastic. There's the double confirmation. There's confirmation that we've won that. There's all the medals to everyone. We've been praised by Wolves supporters, as I would think as well. We've got to be on their favourite personnel list now, surely. The board are happy. Dalot had the best game of his career at 31 years old. More money. Champions League club, there we go. In our first full season, our second season in total, we've taken Wolves to the Champions League. Fantastic. We have now had to pay Man United £5 million though. I'll be honest with you, when we signed him, I didn't expect we'd be winning this, but there we go. We've obviously have done that, so we're going to have to deal with that. And we've paid some money, obviously, to the players as well. And in terms of what we've got to spend next season, £60 million. I can't remember how much it was last season. I think it was about 50. So for the same league placed finished, I'll take that. That's a good amount of money. And we've only got about £100,000-ish per week wage budget to spend, but we can make that up a little bit. There's bound to be some comings and goings in the squads, But that is not for today. That is for the next video. That, I think all things considered, I'll take a 3-1 loss against Chelsea. Let me just move myself back over. I'll take a 3-1 loss against Chelsea there if it means we can win the Europa League final 8-2. I'll take that all day long. That's fantastic. Right. Transfer special next. Let's get ourselves ready for a Champions League campaign, because apparently that's what we're going to do. Final confirmation now. Although we do finish 6th, UEFA Champions League spot. Here we come. It is going to be a big step up in opposition next season. So we better get willing and dealing and get things in ship shape before we get to the start of next season. Or, more than likely, I'll make a couple of transfers, think I'm doing really well, and then realise I've ballsed it all up. But it'll be fun anyway. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed today's video and today's cup final win, don't forget, please leave a like on there for me, and don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so, and you'll put an even bigger smile on this face right here. I don't think I can smile anymore because that was fantastic. I've been Stu, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.